So, once again, I have no life and nothing to talk about. So, let's talk about something I haven't talked about yet. So, NASCAR. Okay, so it's a motorsport. So, does it count as a sport? Because I just talk about all things sports related. And I'm like, did this count or not? Because I watched the NASCAR race. Okay, now I am very invested in NASCAR. I think it's like quite underrated. It's like one of my top 5 favorite sports. And I talked about everything else on the TikTok page. I talked about baseball, basketball, football. So I'm like, even wrestling. So if WWE is like stage sports entertainment, then sure I can talk about NASCAR. So we'll see how this video does. NASCAR. Okay, so some people are like, oh, it's so boring because it's just people driving around in a circle for like 200 times. I just had a discussion at school, but like when you listen to it on the radio, it's different from watching it on TV, I guess, because that's why I don't like watching other sports on TV. Well, one, I can't see the TV, but also two, it's way more descriptive on the radio. And when the announcers really get into the guys driving around the track, it really does get exciting. It just depends on how the race goes, because there's so many different strategies is one thing I love, and it also depends on the track. So for example, what just wrapped up, they were in Indiana and they were on this road course, and I despise road courses because they're so long. So they're like 2.5 miles long, right? But there's so many turns and dog legs and all kind of chicaneries. Ooh, that's the word I like, chicaneries. There's so many. There's like 14 freaking turns, and it takes forever. So there's not a lot of passengers. Another reason I don't like it. But I like, regular ovals, like the Daytona 500, for example, or something like that, or the Coca-Cola 600, where it's just lap after lap of people trying to pass each other. And these races can get quite exciting at the end, unless it's Kyle Larson at the beginning. So, Kyle Larson is probably one of the top 5 drivers in all the sport, and I despise him because he always seems to win. Like, if he gets to the front of the field, it's over. Like, he's going to start lapping half the field. Okay, so there's about 35 to 40 drivers in every race, and you want to stay on the lead lap, because that way you have a chance to, like, pass the driver and you get points and whatever, because there's this whole point system. You don't really know how NASCAR works. Kyle Larson's very good, so if he gets to the front, so that's when you have to pass everyone to get to the front, right? He'll start lapping people that's already been lapped. Okay, it's ridiculous. Like I said, so you have like, let's just say you have 37 cars, right, to start the race. He'll lap about 20 of those cars. So there's only like 14 left on the lead lap. He's so freaking good. Unless someone runs him down and then they pass him. But, that rarely happens. Once he has the lead, it's impossible to pass him. He's so freaking good. My favorite driver is Chase Elliott. I really love Chase Elliott, but he just had a down year this season between having a snowboarding accident, so he missed 7 races because of that. He missed 1 race because he intentionally put Denny Hamlin out of the race, and then he just kind of haven't been winning. Just got 2nd place to Michael McDowell, and it's not looking good for my favorite driver. Ever favorite driver, Kyle Busch, just because he's kind of been there for a long time. But like I was talking about strategy, I love NASCAR because the strategy is like, how do you manage the tires? How do you manage the fuel, the gas in the race car? How do you manage all this with track position? And then if there's a crash or something, that like screws up your whole plan. And I just love like the brain work that goes into trying to figure out, when do I go for my pit stop? Do I go for 2 tires or 4 tires? How many cans of fuel do I use? And all kinds of stuff. And you have to, it's a car, so not malfunctions are going to happen. So I really enjoy watching that car. I know most people don't enjoy watching it because, like I said, someone thinks it's just driving around in a circle 200 times, but I really love the intricacy that go into the sport. And also, I was about to talk about the Twins and the Phillies, but I kind of fell asleep. I might watch the Braves and the Mets tonight if I don't fall asleep, so we'll see what happens with that one. But yeah.